The North Avenue MARTA platform was a concrete limbo, its fluorescent light stuttering in the late-night dark. Talia Aster stood near the yellow tactile strip, her backpack heavy with far too many notebooks and her hand-me-down astronomy textbook. Her phone casting a faint glow in her hand, read 9:55 p.m., and the Atlanta skyline beyond the station's open walls was swallowed by a moonless night. The air smelled of damp concrete and the sharp tang of the tracks. It has been almost 2 months since Talia started at Georgia Tech. She thought it would be a great change, anything to get her out of her family home that felt more lonely than loving since her mother, Eleanor, disappeared 2 years back. Her father, James, threw himself fully into his work, picking up all the extra shifts he could at the firehouse. Everyone grieves in their own way, but to a 16-year-old who just lost her mother, losing her father shortly after to avoidance was a lot to handle. Currently, standing alone on the platform, she would give anything to be sitting across from him in the living room, quietly watching a sitcom, which made them for a moment forget their sadness. If it weren't for Alexis, she would have had no one to lean on in those years. Her best friend since she had memories. Sometimes they joked that they were born at the same time and met in their cribs at the hospital, and it was friendship at first sight. When they both got into Georgia Tech, they decided to rent a townhouse together off campus. Alex had too large a wardrobe to fit in a dorm, and Talia did not like the idea of being in a building full of students, so it was perfect. Alex's parents, Stan and Debbie, loved the idea of them being off campus, so they found the place and paid all the deposit. They even fully furnished it with their mother-in-law's suite furniture. Debbie was dying for an excuse to redecorate. Stan kept saying no, but he wouldn't say no to Alex, so everyone was happy. A fine mist began to fall, cool droplets kissing her cheeks as she tilted her face upward. The moisture clung to her lashes, blurring the world further. She pulled her sweater tighter, her fingers brushing the hem, and sighed. But then, a prickle danced across the back of her neck, an instinctual warning, like static before a storm. Someone was watching her. Her pulse quickened, a soft thud in her temples. Slowly, she turned to her right, her sneakers scuffing softly against the platform's concrete. There, just a few feet away, stood a young girl, no older than 6. Her small frame was unnaturally still, her translucent form shimmering like heat rising off asphalt. The mist seemed to pass through her, undisturbed, and when a sudden gust whipped Talia's dark brown hair across her face, the girl's short brown curls remained untouched, frozen in place. Her pale dress, faintly Victorian in style, hung limply, as if it, too, defied the wind. The girl's eyes locked onto Talia's, and in that moment a jolt surged through her, a spark of electricity that burned away the fog of her exhaustion. The platform vanished. Talia stood on an alien world, an endless expanse of snow-blanketed terrain stretching to the horizon, under a breathtakingly blue sky. The ground was a pristine white canvas, dotted with crystalline drifts that glittered like shattered diamonds, the air biting cold and laced with the sharp tang of ozone and frost. Flurries danced in the wind, swirling around her ankles. In the distance, jagged ice formations rose like frozen sentinels, their surfaces etched with alien runes that pulsed faintly with an inner blue glow. Then, a shadow eclipsed the sun, and a guttural roar tore through the silence, a mechanical scream that vibrated the snow beneath her feet. Not a plane, but a car, a sleek, hovering vehicle with iridescent wings of alloy and thrusters glowing blue. Plummeting from 2,000 feet like a wounded comet, it trailed thick plumes of acrid black smoke that mingled with the falling snow, turning the flakes into sooty gray ash. The craft spiraled wildly, its engines sputtering in desperate bursts, before slamming into the frozen plain with a cataclysmic impact. Snow erupted in a massive plume, a white explosion that showered icy shards. Metal screeched and buckled, the hull crumpling like foil under immense pressure, glass shattering into a hail of razor-sharp fragments that embedded in the drifts. Flames burst from the wreckage, hungry orange tongues licking at the cold air, melting the snow into streaming rivulets. A young woman clawed her way through the fractured windshield, her body a mangled silhouette against the firelight. Blood streamed from deep gashes across her forehead and arms, freezing into crimson icicles in the frigid air. She coughed violently, smoke billowing from her lungs in ragged clouds, her screams raw and piercing. "Move! Get out now!" Her voice echoed across the barren landscape swallowed by the rain. Talia stumbled forward, her sneakers sinking into the snow, smoke billowing as she reached out. But her hand passed through the twisted metal like a phantom, intangible. Peering inside, she saw the girl from the platform, trapped in the rear compartment, her small form immobilized amid the inferno. Flames enveloped her, curling around her limbs with merciless hunger. Her silent cries etched in the terror on her face as the heat warped the air around her. The realization struck Talia like a blizzard gale. This was no earthly accident, but a tragedy on a distant, frozen world replaying in her mind as if she was there. In an instant, she was back on the platform. The cold mist settling on her skin, the girl stood before her unchanged, her translucent form glowing faintly under the fluorescent light. Her lips moved, forming the words, "Help us," with a quiet urgency that reverberated in Talia's chest. Then, as suddenly as she'd appeared, the girl's image flickered and dissolved into the night, leaving only the damp air and the distant rumble of the approaching train. Talia spun around, her breath shallow, searching the platform for another soul who might have seen, but the station was empty, a rarity for this hour, so close to campus, where students usually lingered, their laughter echoing off the concrete. The train screeched around the curve, its brakes hissing against the wet track. Talia boarded, her movements mechanical, her mind replaying the girl's face, her words, the burning car. The ride to Brookhaven passed in a blur, the familiar clatter of the train swallowed by her spiraling thoughts. 20 minutes felt like seconds, as if time itself had bent under the weight of what she'd seen. At Brookhaven, she stepped onto the platform and began the walk home, the amber glow of streetlights casting pools of light every 100 feet. Her sneakers splashed through shallow puddles, the sound sharp in the quiet night. A sudden crack, branch snapping in the bush behind her, sent her heart racing. She whipped around, peering into the shadowed undergrowth, but saw nothing. Just the wind, she told herself, though the fear coiling in her stomach refused to loosen. Her pulse throbbed in her temples, her senses hyper alert, as if the night itself were watching her.